With approximately 2,400 cows in lactation, we expect to reach up to 115,000 liters of milk at peak production. We milk 2,400 cows, practically within 6.5 hours of milking. Today, we are producing around 100,000 liters of milk, with an average yield of 43 liters per cow per day. Here at Colorado Farm, as you can see, our entire cow cooling system operates under cross-ventilation. Then, we release a large wave of water, approximately 15 to 20 centimeters deep. This wave washes the flooring, leaving it extremely clean and dry.
Jesse sent a message saying that he won't be making videos anymore because you haven't subscribed to the Santafé channel. So subscribe now, and he will continue recording on farms around the world.
Well, we are here at Colorado Farm, located in Araras, São Paulo, under the Xandô milk brand. We are currently inside the milking parlor, which operates as a rotary system with 72 stalls. We milk 2,400 cows, essentially within 6.5 hours. Currently, our milk production is around 100,000 liters per day, averaging 43 liters per cow per day. We operate with 5 workers per shift, and these workers are divided according to function. Some are responsible for bringing the animal groups to the parlor and performing the pre-dipping. Another individual dries and prepares the teats to receive the milking unit. This is the second operator on the carousel. So, one performs the pre-dipping, another is responsible for drying the teats, a third places the milking cluster, and as the cows are being milked and you will see the carousel in motion, we have a final operator at the end of the rotation who checks the completion of the milking and applies the post-dipping. All the milk from these 2,400 cows is sent to our dairy plant, which is located right next door. We produce under our own brand. This is a bit of our routine here in the rotary milking parlor, which is adjacent to our dairy plant. Here at Colorado Farm, as you can see, our entire cow cooling system is based on cross-ventilation. It functions like a giant radiator. A paper-based cooling pad is moistened by descending water, while on the opposite side, exhaust fans pull the air through this honeycomb-like structure. As the air passes through the wet surface, it causes evaporative cooling, and cooler air enters the barn environment. This is part of the strategy we are implementing here at Colorado Farm to improve thermal comfort for our animals. It is not a perfect system. It is not an air conditioner, as it is still influenced by relative humidity. The drier the air, the more efficient the system becomes. During August and September, which are typically the driest months in our region, the system reaches its peak performance. Under these conditions, we can achieve up to 13 degrees Celsius difference between the external and internal barn temperatures. In this regard, relative humidity is the determining factor for system efficiency. Now, let's move on so we can see where the cows are housed. That will give us a better understanding of how the system works in practice. Shall we? Here we are accompanying our colleague Flavio, a veterinarian who works with us in embryo collection. These are the top genetically ranked animals in Colorado's herd, selected and prepared to serve as embryo donors. We aim to produce as many female embryos as possible, which are then implanted into our own cows. Colorado exclusively uses recipient cows from its own Holstein herd. Every 21 days we collect embryos from approximately 12 to 15 cows and 12 to 15 heifers, with the goal of obtaining high-quality female offspring, thereby accelerating the genetic improvement of our herd. You can observe the mammary system of these cows. Nearly all of them are primiparous, and that is exactly the type of genetic progress we seek in terms of performance and reproduction. This is one of the strategies we use to enhance the genetic assets of our farm. We sell animals to several states, and much of that is only possible because of our ability to replicate the superior genetics present in our herd. Now we are inside the barn. As previously mentioned, this is where we see the cooling pad, the brown panel visible here through which all the air is drawn. It flows across the barn, through the cows, and is extracted by exhaust fans located laterally, creating a constant breeze that contributes to an even better thermal sensation. We are deeply committed to animal welfare. Beyond offering a fresh and well-ventilated environment, we also ensure the comfort of the bedding areas, the quality of the feed, which we'll discuss shortly, the cleanliness and cow handling, and the general conditions of the facilities. You can observe how calm the cows are. We are walking through the barn, and they barely move. This calmness results from proper handling practices. The care we take with the feed bunk, flooring, bedding, ventilation, and lighting creates a pleasant environment, which is precisely what allows us to achieve average yields above 43 liters per cow, even during the most challenging season of the year. Many people often ask me about the story behind all of this. The story begins with a man who is passionate about cows, Mr. Laira Antonio de Souza from the Pazzetti de Souza family. I had the pleasure of starting my career here 31 years ago, at a time when we were producing only a small amount of milk. I vividly remember the first barbecue we held when we hit 10,000 liters of milk in a single day. It is with great pride that I have witnessed this farm's growth. Today, we have 90 direct employees working in milk production, excluding the staff at the dairy plant, who handle packaging and transportation. These 90 people are responsible for all agricultural operations, with the exception of corn planting, which is managed by another team. They also manage forage conservation, pre-dried feed, ensiling, and heifer rearing. We do not purchase animals from outside. We are a certified free property, free of brucellosis, tuberculosis, and other contagious diseases. Therefore, we cannot bring animals in from external sources. Most of our workforce lives on the farm or are children of employees who have been here for decades. It is very common to find workers who have been with Colorado for 40 years. I know that's not typical in agribusiness or livestock production, but it is part of what makes this place special. I myself have 31 years at Colorado. When I started, we produced just over 5,000 liters of milk, and day after day, year after year, we have strived to be better than ourselves, never comparing ourselves to others. That, I believe, is Colorado's great differentiator. We pursue excellence by comparing our current results to our own past performance. We know exactly what we need to do to improve, we know where we want to go, and we work to get there through genetic improvement, comfort optimization, and refinement of diets, which you'll hear more about from Nato and Gustavo. All of these are opportunities. Running a dairy operation of this scale with approximately 2,400 cows in lactation, reaching up to 115,000 liters of milk at peak, is only possible through conscious management, committed people, high-quality feed, controlled environments, and above all, a genuine passion for what we do. That passion is what makes the real difference, and you can see it reflected in the behavior and appearance of the animals here in our barns. I believe the most impactful change we made here was improving the quality of the diets, the quality of the feed we offer to the cows, whether it is corn silage or forage grasses. Then, we improved the environmental conditions where the cows are housed. I would say there are 4 key pillars. I already mentioned nutrition, I mentioned ambience, and now I speak about comfort. Finally, genetics has also been transformative for us. We work exclusively with Holstein cattle. That's not to say success isn't possible with other breeds, but in our case, it's Holstein, black and white. And lastly, I would highlight people. These 4 pillars, feeding, environment, genetics, and people management, are what sustain a growing milk production year after year. We invest heavily in our team management. I enjoy working with people. I see opportunity in them. And that vision allowed me to build teams that pursue excellence in everything they do here. So today, whether we are talking about genetic sales or milk production, we have excellent performance indexes, high sales rates, great returns, strong production metrics. This allows us to extract the maximum profitability from every hectare of corn production. Scale efficiency is crucial, and it has helped make Colorado a frequently visited farm. People come to understand how we manage all this. It's not easy. We face challenges. We are aware of our limitations. But we are also very clear on what we need to do to keep growing, even if just a little more. At this stage, we cannot house more animals, so we must either increase productivity per cow or expand the system. As it stands, the system is complete, and that is why we now focus on selling genetics. Today we use quarry sand. It is riverbank sand. We are in a region with abundant sand deposits, so the bedding our cows lie on is fresh, clean sand. We store this sand so that in the future we can recycle it, either for use in heifer bedding or for lactating cows again. Currently, We replenish the bedding 3 times a week, reorganizing and leveling the beds. It is excellent quality sand, and without a doubt, one of the best bedding options for dairy cows. Many people ask me, why sand? Because for dairy cows, sand is the best bedding option available. Some producers have also been successful using organic material, but since we are located very close to a sand supplier, the cost-benefit ratio and final quality are unmatched. It's simply not comparable to rubber mats or other bedding materials available out there. There's an image here that may seem simple, but it's quite telling. We can clearly observe many cows at the feed bunk, eating, but we also notice a significant number of cows lying comfortably on their bedding. This is essential, because the moment when a cow is truly producing milk is when she is lying down, resting, and ruminating. That moment makes a substantial difference, because it is much more difficult to get a cow to lie down than it is to get her to walk to the feed alley. And for a cow to lie down, 2 basic things are required. First, she must be well fed, and second, the bedding must be comfortable and cool. One of the great virtues of this system is that the best place inside the barn is precisely the bedding area. This is because, as there is a deflector wall, that upright panel we see, the airflow accelerates directly over the cows, making that the most pleasant microenvironment for the animals to lie down. This is fundamental because, as you know, a cow spends around 12 hours per day lying down. She needs to rest her legs and hooves and to ruminate. Thus, the area where the cow lies down must be clean and dry, attracting her to rest there, with airflow, humidity, and temperature at pleasant levels. It is crucial to observe your animals and understand that any cow not feeding or drinking should be occupying the bedding. That is when milk production actually begins. Not when she is eating, but when she is lying down and ruminating during those 12 hours of rest. That is the true indicator of whether the farm is operating with appropriate management. Speaking now about Colorado Farm's performance metrics, here in Araras under the Xandô milk brand, we have an excellent somatic cell count, averaging around 180,000 cells. We have 2,400 cows and apply a robust protocol to minimize antibiotic usage, even during dry-off protocols. Today, more than 70% of the cows that are dried off receive no antibiotics, only internal teat sealants. This is a key factor in maintaining the high quality of our milk, while still keeping somatic cell counts low. Our mastitis rate is below 0.5%, which is an outstanding figure. We work heavily with vaccination protocols and administer treatments parenterally when necessary, such as in environmental mastitis cases that require systemic treatment. We do not use intramammary tubes, avoiding drugs in the teats whenever possible. This approach enables us to deliver a superior milk quality to the market. Regarding reproductive performance, we acknowledge that it is an area in need of improvement. Our pregnancy rate is currently around 23%, which we are working to challenge. We use the Dairy Comp 305 software, an American herd management program. And it is important to mention that the figures I'm quoting are generated using this specific system. In Brazil, there are many different ways to calculate pregnancy rates, so I won't go into the methodology. I'm simply stating that our data comes from Dairy Company. Our conception rate varies between 35 and 45%, depending on the time of year, indicating that we still face challenges during heat stress periods, when fertility tends to drop. A low somatic cell count is vital not only because we are milk producers, and our Xandô branded milk reaches the market with higher shelf life and superior quality, but also because mastitis and milk quality are strongly correlated with reproductive efficiency. Our aim is to reduce mastitis rates to further improve reproduction outcomes. Our female birth rate in the herd currently averages around 75%. We aim to raise this to 80% and eventually to 85%. The fewer male calves we produce, the better it is for us, since we are involved in genetic sales, and female offspring are more valuable in our system. Undoubtedly, the largest volume of female calves comes from heifers, the nulliparas, as they are almost exclusively inseminated with sexed semen. In our dairy herd, due to certain reproductive challenges, we are still occasionally required to use conventional semen to achieve pregnancies. Our cows currently average 2.7 to 2.8 lactations per cow, which reflects a solid utilization of their productive cycles. However, we aim to reach an average of 3 lactations per cow, though this has proven difficult, and as anyone in the industry knows, it is not an easy task. Here we are in front of a group of primiparis, and this is a group of A2A2 milk-producing animals. We also have multiparis in this lot, also A2A2. Colorado is committed to this A2A2 milk line, and currently, approximately 70% of our herd consists of A2-A2 genotype animals. Our goal is to reach 100% in order to eliminate the need to segregate production groups. This is a clear market demand. We work with semen from all major genetics companies without exclusive agreements. Although we are assisted by the Alta genetics team, we also purchase semen from other major companies, such as Cemex, ABS, ST, Select Sires, and Lagoa. This diversity contributes to a highly uniform herd genetically prepared for efficient milk production. We do not participate in shows or fairs, as we are a certified free property and therefore cannot remove animals and bring them back due to biosecurity protocols. Our primary focus here is herd health and milk production, specifically productive lifespan and milk yield. However, we are now beginning to place increased emphasis on milk fat and protein content in response to a growing shift in consumer demand toward cheeses and yogurts. Given this market trend, it makes sense for us to select bulls that transmit higher levels of fat and protein to their offspring. These are traits with strong heritability, and bulls have significant potential to improve these components through genetic transmission. The subject of A2A2 milk is still not widely understood. This is a genetic trait inherent to the animal. It is encoded in her DNA. There is no way to modify milk to become A2A2 after it is produced. A cow must genetically possess this trait to naturally produce milk with A2 beta-casein. This milk is associated with improved digestive tolerance, particularly for individuals who often report digestive discomfort or bloating after consuming regular milk. A 2A2 milk may offer a gentler digestion experience, making it more accessible for certain consumers. This refers to the A2 beta-casein, a variant of casein protein found in milk. Cows can be classified genetically as A1A1, A1A2, or A2A2. And how is this achieved? Through selective breeding, identifying and breeding animals that carry the A2A2 genotype, which ensures they produce milk exclusively with A2 casein. This determination is made via genomic testing of each animal, allowing us to classify and manage the herd. Specifically for A2 to A2 milk production, this approach particularly benefits individuals who are not lactose intolerant and do not have enzymatic issues, but simply experience digestive discomfort with standard milk, making A2A2 milk a well-tolerated alternative for them. It is important to ensure people do not misunderstand what we are doing. What we do is purchase only A2 to A2 bulls. We have stopped buying any bulls that are not genetically A2A2. When you breed an A1A2 cow with an A2A2 bull, the likelihood of the offspring being A2A2 is significant. About 3 years ago, we made the decision to purchase exclusively A2A2 bulls. One of the ways to increase the proportion of A2A2 animals in the herd is to ensure that no bulls without the A2 gene are introduced into the breeding program. If you breed an A2A2 cow with an A2A2 bull, 100% of the calves will be A2A2. If the cow is A1A2, there is a 50% chance that the offspring will be A2A2, because the bull will always contribute the A2 gene, while the cow may contribute either A1 or A2. However, if the cow is A1A1, then it is impossible for her offspring to be A2A2, because the cow will always contribute the A1 gene, and the resulting calf will only ever be A1A2 at best. We currently have a heifer that is A1A2, and when she is bred in 2 years with an A2A2 bull, her calf has a higher chance of being A2A2, but it is a slow, multi-generational process to achieve full A2A2 status across the herd. Regarding our energy strategy, we are currently in a transitional moment. We do have a solar energy installation at the farm entrance, as you saw earlier, but the majority of the energy used at Colorado still comes from the open market, through standard utility providers like Electro and CPFL. At this point, we are developing a project for a biodigester, but we do not intend to use it to generate electricity. Our goal is to produce biomethane, to be used as fuel in combustion engines. This is because in the state of São Paulo, electricity is less expensive compared to other states in Brazil, making large-scale energy generation projects less economically viable for us. For us, the current electricity cost is quite attractive, since we purchase from the open market. The idea with the biodigester is to compress the biogas and sell it as fuel for trucks, fleet vehicles, tractors, or similar uses. However, this would require modifying all the engines, which is a very expensive process. At first, we may adapt one or two vehicles, but we believe renewable energy is the right direction to pursue. We are currently finalizing the biodigester project, and it promises to bring substantial benefits, especially in terms of sustainability and fertigation systems. This farm has 150 hectares of green area dedicated to forage production, as Gustavo and Nero will explain later. We apply fertigation on these fields, so anything we can do to improve the quality of the slurry is beneficial for the environment, soil health, and natural resources. The use of this slurry or manure, effluent, once fully utilized for energy production, will have a major impact on our sustainability efforts, including carbon footprint reduction and environmental stewardship. Today, Colorado already operates a composting system. All the organic material collected from the barns is scraped and transported to a drying area, where we separate the sand from the manure. The sand is sent to the storage area, mentioned earlier, while the manure is passed through a screening system. The solid fraction is directed to the composting area, where it undergoes a series of preparatory steps to become organic compost. This compost is later applied to corn fields or citrus groves owned by the farm, enriching the soil. Once the compost is dehydrated, the liquid fraction is used in the fertigation system, and approximately 75 to 80% of that water is reused. Thus, the flushing system we use here relies on 75 to 80% reclaimed water. We do not use clean water for flushing operations here. We use reclaimed water as part of our strong environmental commitment. This is a deeply important matter for us. It would be extremely troubling to see clean, potable water being used for floor cleaning in a country or even a planet where water scarcity is a growing concern. This region in particular is already water stressed, and therefore, we aim to ensure that 80% of the water used to clean our barn floors is recycled. The water our animals drink is the same water we drink ourselves. It is also used for cleaning the milking equipment. In this case, yes, drinking water is noble water, properly treated, chlorinated, and not heated. We do not heat the water because we believe that cows prefer it at around 25 degrees Celsius, which is a very comfortable temperature for them to drink. The flushing system we use here is essentially a controlled flooding process. Every time cows are moved to the milking parlor, we remove excess sand and organic matter with the goal of directing these solids into a channel located at the end of the alley. After that, we release a massive wave of water, approximately 15 to 20 centimeters deep, which washes the floor thoroughly, leaving it extremely clean and dry. This is what we refer to as flushing. All of that water flows downward, transporting the organic material to the drying zone. Once collected, the material is separated into solids and sand. The solid fraction is sent to the composting facility, while 80% of the liquid is reused and the remaining 20% is applied through fertigation. What we are seeing here is an antenna. This is an Israeli technology from Alpha Milk. It is an antenna-based monitoring system that transmits data from the cows. If you look closely, each cow wears a collar around her neck, which identifies the individual animal, records her activity, tracks the time spent at the feed bunk, and the time spent lying down on the bedding. It also detects panting or labored breathing. With this information, we can determine whether the cows are experiencing thermal comfort. For instance, if an entire group of animals is recorded as panting heavily, it indicates that the temperature inside the barn is too high. Using this system, we know what time each cow goes to the milking parlor, where she was milked, and how much milk she produced. We are able to monitor her milk production curve and assess whether it is progressing as expected. At the end of each day, we receive a comprehensive health report showing which cows dropped in milk production, which ones spent an unusual amount of time lying down, and which ones are likely in estrus. In fact, this collar contains an accelerometer, which measures the amount of time the cow is walking. This data helps us cross-reference behavioral patterns to detect estrus, allowing for timely insemination or embryo transfer. What we see here is the application of sand bedding, as we discussed earlier in terms of bedding quality. We can observe the texture, softness, and cleanliness of the sand. It contains no rocks or debris, and it is cool to the touch. This makes a real difference for the cows. When they return from milking, their beds will be well prepared. They will have the opportunity to eat, and then lie down on a cool, clean, and dry bed, which encourages resting behavior and has a positive impact on milk production. At this moment, the feed has already been distributed, and it is awaiting the return of the animals from the milking parlor. We just saw the sand bedding being applied, and the tractor is pushing some of the solid material to the side. Soon, we will wash the area using the flushing system, and then the cows will be brought back from milking so that they can access the fresh bedding and feed.